Ah! Anyway, g'day hobby friends. Today I've pumped out for you some concrete barricades. That's about the 200th time that's happened. Now these take about 5 minutes each to make. You wouldn't believe it, but when you make so many of them so quickly, you get really fast at it. Some pretty simple techniques used here, so follow on to see how I did it. To start, I cut some strips of XPS foam 15mm wide and 20mm tall. A Proxxon is not required, of course, though I do find it makes the process quicker. You can just use a ruler and a Stanley blade. To finish the profile, I cut the top corners off at about a rough 45-degree angle. I make sure that there is still a roughly 5mm strip across the top that remains flat. Then I quickly mark out varying lengths of barricade, roughly 2 inches and roughly 4 inches, with some variance. To finish the effect of the barricade's profile, I simply bevel the ends. And with that, the profile's done. Time to start making them look good. To stop the barricades falling over with the gasp of air that comes out of you when you roll ones yet again, I put some screws in the bottom. Simply adds a bit of weight to the bottom half of the barricades and lets them stand up nice and straight. Now, here's the trick to making these things fast. I'm going to use a lot of different spray paint products. So first up, I'm going to seal the XPS foam with the Terrain Master Ruins and Cliffs foam safe spray, 2 coats of that. I will then use Dulux Granite effect, 2 coats of that to add texture. Following that, I'm going to use some other Dulux products, just some tans, some blues and greens to add the mottled effect for underneath the base of my dry brushing. So dry brushing, that is easily the longest bit of this build. But since I've put down some nice mottled effect underneath, it means all I have to do is concentrate on the concrete color and work up. I start with rust gray and just keep adding white, and then add more white, and then add more white, till I get the desired effect. And when you can see it in person, you will see the slight mottled effect that comes through underneath from those different colors that I'd used before. Honestly, this is a great time saver when making concrete. Now another quick time saver, because these are all uniform in shape, I can make a dip wash. I'm going to make some Necro Sponge as I think about it. Basically liquefying medium, water, a bit of burnt umber and black ink, and then some green to add in that really unhealthy tinge. Mix it up and dunk them all in. Just make sure when you put them out to dry, you raise them up on something like these satay skewers here, so it doesn't stick to your hobby desk. The next step is posters. Now you've probably seen me do posters before, but basically just Google sci-fi, scale, 40K posters, etc. and you get some printable ones that you can do on a LaserJet ink printer so the ink doesn't run. And then to apply them, simply cut them out, soak them in a watery PVA mix, then apply them with a stiff brush and brush them on and stipple them on so that they can form to the contours of your piece. And that's it, let them dry. I use actually matte Mod Podge because it has a nice matte finish to it as well, which knocks down the posters a touch. Once they're all done, I get out some dirty down products. Mainly, I'm getting out the moss effect for the bottom of these barricades. As you can imagine where the moisture, etc. would build up down there. Let that dry and knock them back a bit. You've all seen how dirty down products work before. But now here are the things that I think it's really going to make it, is graffiti. Now I'm using here is some Sharpie earth tone brush tip acrylic paint pens. These things I just saw the other day in Kohl's for $30, or I guess that's about 15 freedom units or freedom dollars in America. Or maybe, I don't know, 10 pounds in the UK. But these things are great. I will say when you're using them on texture, like I do on textured things, the tips can wear out a little bit quickly, but considering how cheap they are and how good they are, I mean, I don't really worry. You buy a couple of packs of these and I just have them in the drawer and whip them out when I need them. I mean, look at the coverage we're getting here with yellow. You're not going to get that with any potted miniature paint, that's for sure. Now, as far as what I actually wrote in this graffiti, I just took influence from things like Smeg from Red Dwarf or Flag from Uncle Adam and various 40k novels, etc. Just think of any sort of sci-fi slogan and write it down there. Try to think of some cheeky things too. Just let your creative juices flow through you and go with whatever you think. I mean, at the end of the day, who says that grimdark and bright colours don't match? I certainly think they do. If you think about a dystopian future, there's going to be all sorts of bright coloured signs and what have you just to hide and stand out against the grey bleakness that is people's existence in the future. Seriously, guys, be happy to be alive. There is no better time in human history than right now. So I like to add a streaking effect to all of my concrete, and I use Vallejo's streaking grime and slimy grime. I like to think of it as just basically potted dirty paint water from the Vallejo studios, because it looks a bit the same, but anyways, it works great. My method of application is basically I put drops of this streaking grime across the top, and then I start adding drops of water to it until it streaks and runs down the side. Pretty simple, really. And then you can just manipulate it from there. It'll look a bit harsh when it goes on, but it dries a lot clearer and a lot better than you would imagine. So just give it a go. At the end of the day, guys, we're not doing Golden Demon. We're just making barricades for our little men to hide behind. Go for it. Now time for some blood effects. I always say, guys, when you're doing blood, be exuberant, but tell a story. Now to create these blood effects, I use the following things. A mixture of Rhinox hide and some red from Acrylic as a muddy contrast to the semi-dried blood. Blood for the Blood God from Citadel, which is a great technical paint. And then of course, the gore from Dirty Down. That's phenomenal. To apply the blood, I like to do splits and splats of Blood for the Blood God and a mixture of the Rhinox hide and the red from Acrylic, just a nice bright thing. Just think of where there's blood splatter, gunshot wounds. Maybe you can do some hand marks where someone who's been shot kind of puts his hands on the wall trying to grip onto it before he keels over and falls down. And then of course, for that extra bit of gore and brain matter, you get out the blood, the gore from Dirty Down. Just make sure you don't put your paintbrush in the gore from Dirty Down because you will then be putting it into the bin. Just use some toothpicks or some bits of plastic to pull it out and streak it and make some nice gory, garlands of splatter on the wall. And that's about it, hobby friends, apart from a few final flourishes of graffiti I thought up of and a few coats of matte acrylic varnish from Vallejo. They're ready to go. As you can see here, they're like the perfect height for your little dudes to run around, hide behind and get some partial cover. Tell me what you think down below, and if there's any aspects of this that you wanted some further explanation on, comment as well. But please, hobby friends, don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see some more. Until next time, keep crafting.